Okay, guys, welcome to this episode of Money Fridays. This is where you get your financial literacy just before you go and blow it this weekend, okay? This is what we're doing this year. We're making sure we're teaching, and we got a special guest. Huge guest. I'll make sure I read this. You know what I'm saying?
The accolades.
You know what I'm saying? Special guest property expert, works with developers like Barclay Homes and Barrett Homes. Presenter for Channel 4, giving you all information about property, whether it be how to buy, how to invest, doing viewings and more, even jokes on Instagram. There's a lot of comedy there as well. One half of Bricks with Tips with his wife Antoinette, shout her out.
Big shout out to
Yeah.
Antoinette.
He's a father of two.
Yep.
He's a husband of one.
We hope so.
We got Tayo Oguntonade right here. Did I pronounce that right?
Oguntonade. But
Oguntonade?
Yeah, Oguntonade. Tayo Oguntonade. What's the hum for?
It sounds a bit.
Give me a bit, Oyinbo.
You're from Ghana, innit?
Yeah.
Let me hear from Kenny. What's the
Oguntonade.
Nah. He's trying too hard. That's
Let me
the problem. Oguntonade.
Okay, I hear it as well.
Yeah.
But it still sounds a
Oguntonade.
bit like it sounds better he saying it.
Oguntonade.
Oguntonade.
You might have had in the Wakanda.
Oguntonade.
Yeah, the Wakanda.
You might have
Listen,
forced
this
the
is
Wakanda
Wakanda.
twist, like, don't have to do that.
It's straight on him on his own name. That's crazy.
Nah, cool. If that's what you pronounce the
Yeah.
name. So Oguntonade.
Oguntonade. That's how my dad pronounces it. So
All right.
Yeah.
Head chief. Now, Shai, I thank you for joining us, bro.
all day, man. Pleasure to be here.
We want to dive into it.
Let's get into it, man.
So first of all, Bricks with Tips. Tell us what it is, because everyone needs to understand what it is and what you guys are
And how
doing
did
there.
you get started as well?
Yeah, man. So Bricks with Tips is it's a platform, and it's all about property and financial literacy. And I guess the way we got started is that it was primarily property. I was quite fortunate enough to buy my first property at the age of 22.
Nice.
I bought in Kent. There's a few things that kind of led to me being able to buy at that age.
Yeah, we'll get into that.
Yeah, we'll get into that. But what we wanted to do is that when I bought my first property, I'd been with my now wife for quite some time. We started buying several properties after that. And what we found is that people in our community, like your close friends and that, were buying property as well. And it's quite nice to say this actually here, because your community represents what you're able to do. Like, it's infectious, you know what I'm trying to say. It's kind of like, even looking at the three of you lot, you're all homeowners. You're all
true.
husbands.
Very
you know what I'm
true.
trying to say.
Yeah,
It's not by coincidence. It's kind of like it's infectious
100%.
to a certain degree, innit? So what we found is that when we bought properties, all of our friends started buying properties.
Yeah.
And not to say that we help them or blah, 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 but it's infectious once again. It's kind of like, and when you've got that relationship, that's why I like the episode that you lot spoke about salaries. It's important to talk about salaries. Like, when I was
100%.
trying to earn more, I asked my brother, like, what did you say to that guy to get this job? Do you know what I'm trying to say? And that's how you got to be with your friends, isn't it?
Yeah,
So it's kind of
yeah.
like that with a property. Right, you bought in Kent. Oh, okay. What's the price is saying that? How much do you need to earn? What deposit did you put down? What lender did you go with? And that lender's all right with that, yeah?
Yeah,
You get to ask all of these, you get to ask all of these questions. But this is things that people don't know, because online all you hear is, buy property is impossible. We're never going to do it. And sometimes, because it is a hard thing to do, sometimes people get peace from those messages.
Of
My man
course.
online said it's impossible.
It's
so-
true. It's true. So it's impossible.
I won't bother with that. I won't bother with it. It's impossible.
But I
innit?
think that like what you're saying in terms of like having people around you that are doing it, it makes it seem possible. Because
Exactly
when
that.
you've got nobody that you know that's actually done it, it does seem
Yeah.
impossible.
Yeah, absolutely. So
yeah.
on that note, that's why we made Bricks with Tips. We wanted to forget our WhatsApp groups and whatnot. We wanted to kind of extend that community that we already had. So that the way that we see our kind of audience on Bricks with Tips is that we're all in the community. So we're regularly showing you examples of people like you that are doing it. Don't get me wrong, money's a big part of buying property, but we truly believe that education can bridge that property gap. What I mean by that is that what you actually know, the techniques or the strategies, or like some people actually don't know that the majority of people, and this isn't like, I bought my first property in Kent. You'll find that a lot of young, black, good earners in the UK are buying their first properties in Kent and Essex. A lot of people just don't know that. They think they think that everyone's buying in the areas that we grew up. So when they see
Impossible.
new homeowners, they think that people are buying in Peckham,
Yeah.
in Brixton.
Yeah.
Some people are,
Yeah, some
but the
people can,
majority
yeah.
ain't. Do you get what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
And sometimes I try and explain to people that what you need to do sometimes is just look at the numbers. The numbers don't stack up.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying it, forget everybody else. Focus on your thing, innit? Like the average person earns maybe about 30,000, 35,000. So 50,000 is good.
Yeah.
And most lenders will do 4.5 times your salary, but let's just call it 5 times your salary. That means the lender will give you 250.
Yeah.
Now, where's 250 starting you off at?
Yeah.
Not in Peckham,
Yeah,
That's
definitely
for sure.
not.
not in Brixton.
Yeah.
You get a garage. Or maybe one of them boats.
Hey, I've seen garage
Like
90K.
them boats, when I was looking for houses, them boats were
boats.
looking appealing still.
Like Kano. Man's living like Sully.
Got 2 bathrooms.
Listen, I know mobile.
I see what
And
it
the
is.
Thames.
I can move anywhere down the canal. I'm good.
Crazy.
Views. You got views, baby.
And then Battersea as well. There was one that was like near Battersea. I was like, rah, man can say I live in Battersea.
Well,
Like,
really looking at the boats.
So you're allowed to move your shit though.
I'm not sure that you, I think
I don't know.
I think you got a docket at certain
Probably,
areas.
you probably
Yeah,
have to
yeah.
like. It probably has to belong somewhere. Like you probably have to pay some sort of tax to that council. Like
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know they're gonna be
yeah,
like
yeah,
boat
yeah.
tax, like river
I have to
tax,
look
canal
into
tax.
it, though. It's low key, like
Yeah.
tax me how, bruv? I'll move my boat.
Yeah.
You can't fight. You don't know where I am.
You must not be able to just whiz it on the Thames
It's
like that. So.
but it's just
You must not be able to.
The thing is, it's like a car. Same thing. If you register it, you have to do it lig. But of course, if you didn't register that you had a car, you could probably just not park it anywhere, but you could just drive around if you wanted. But it's like at some point, someone's gonna nab you and be like, "Yo,
Nah, but I'm
road
sure
tax,
if
insurance."
if you live in a caravan, you don't pay council tax.
Probably don't.
No, you don't, because
Is
that's
that like
what
the gypsies?
Max and Paddy, the show on Channel 4.
Yeah.
And that was part of their intro. It's like Max and Paddy and Max, and best of all, we don't pay council tax because they lived in a caravan.
But they're going to
man.
give you issues wherever you try and park that. I
Oh,
don't
yeah,
think you can park it wherever you want.
You
'cause
probably
when
can't.
you-
You
when
can't.
you
You
think
probably
about it,
can't.
I could get a buy like a Kent boat or like a Margate boat.
Yeah.
And then just like whiz it to Chelsea.
yeah.
You know what I'm trying to say?
If you know your way,
If you know your way,
it's got the
that's
compass.
crazy.
Ain't no traffic though. No traffic on those rivers.
Upstream, bro.
You know.
There must be something to do with laws and that. But okay, cool. So first property, Kent,
Yeah.
22, fresh out of uni,
A bit after uni, yeah.
bit after uni.
What did you
was
study?
So I studied economics. So
Okay.
It's quite. I often tell the story that when I was in uni, yeah, like I used to love to buy cars, innit? Once again, being influenced about the people around you, innit? So when I came to uni, yeah, I had this broke down Ford Fiesta. I was fortunate to have a car.
Yeah,
Fortunate to have a
yeah,
car,
100%.
But my car was bad, bro. Like basically, I don't know if you know much about cars, innit? But the coolant was always like leaking.
Yeah.
I had to refill it more than I had to fill fuel.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
like when you
I've
see
been
me,
there still.
bro,
Yeah, you could have
when you
saved
see-
yourself big money. Little £200.
Yeah, I know.
Bro, I didn't know.
Yeah.
What's your knowledge? I didn't know. So instead of doing that, I would always roll with like 6 2-liter bottles in the boot, bro.
Yeah.
So I know that when I'm driving from ends to ports, I got to pull over the hard shoulder and refill it. And remember with the cooler, you must know, you got to wait for it to cool down.
Yeah,
But
of
I didn't have
course.
time for that.
Yeah.
A
You
rag.
can't just.
It's like,
I had a rag. I opened it, I jumped back. What was piping hot, bro?
It's crazy.
Of the ducks, bruv.
And the car used to whistle sometimes as well. As I'm driving around uni, innit? So I think in uni, like,
What colour was it?
Red.
I knew it. I
Fine,
knew it was going to be
It
red.
feels like a red car.
I
The story
did.
feels like a red car, bro.
Fiesta red.
So, yeah, I was fortunate enough to go to uni with bare people. I know I went to Portsmouth, innit? Then one of my boys from college upgraded his car. Then one of my tight boys in my circle, he went and got a Golf. And obviously the young people now, they're doing bits in it. So
Yeah,
they're not understanding what we're saying.
Aye,
but
a Golf
them
is
times-
a whole
I was
thing.
the
them
guy
times
when I got my car.
I was scheming on a Fiat Stilo, bro. Yeah. A Fiat. Can you imagine? So when my brother, when my brother got the Golf, I was like, child.
Yeah.
They
But
making
it's
money.
so, bro, and it's so funny. It's the same thing you said. It's like, so this is possible.
Yeah.
When will like my bridges do well? Say, so this is possible. So I must have stayed back after uni. I got a job, part-time job in uni. I stayed back after uni, started working. I got Astra next year.
Upgrade.
Then my brethren got the 3-door 3 series, and my next brethren got 5 series.
They gone bimmers now. They gone German.
Aye, you guys need to relax.
Now, once again, these young
now.
boys, they get the Porsche out, man. Back then that was a Mazda, so I got an Audi TT in it.
Okay.
You want compete?
I'm trying to get me. But then, yeah, And obviously, everybody has small hustle in uni, innit? So,
yeah. We don't have to dive too much into that.
So
We know.
I'm an economics student, innit? So I'm like, boy, every single time I'm selling a car, I'm buying a new one. I'm losing value on it, innit?
Yeah.
Economics, you learn about these things, and it's,
Yeah,
it's going against everything I'm studying, innit? So I'm like, cool, let me buy something that either holds its value or increases in value. So when I come out of uni, I'm like, cool, I'm gonna buy a property. A couple of reasons. I didn't think about it too much at the time, but it'll go up in value when I'm holding it, so it's like a store of value, somewhere to put the bread. And then the next thing is that it's tangible, so I can live in it. It's increasing in value in it. You get what I'm trying to say? And then you obviously just know vaguely that property is a good thing to kind of invest in it. So when I came out of uni, I worked briefly in a retail bank. Then I became a mortgage broker, and that's where things. This is why I often say that. Yeah, I did have things that helped me at the time in it because we speak about knowledge. I became a mortgage broker. I am like some of my targets is that I need to get 8 people approved for a mortgage that week.
Right.
So it's kind of like the proximity and the frequency that I'm helping people buy properties. Like property is no longer a big thing.
Right.
Do you get what I'm trying to say? Because
it's
I'm
normalized,
helping, I'm seeing all different kinds of profiles: single, couple, doctors. I'm helping people on benefit that. Because a lot of people don't know. If you're on benefits, you can still get a mortgage, innit?
Right.
Depending on the mortgage and depending on the earnings and the makeup of it. But I'm helping all sorts of different profiles get property, innit? So it's kind of like, right, this is actually possible, innit? So I went and bought my first property and then kind of just went from there, jumped around in Kent a few times. But I guess what I did is that I didn't sell when I bought another property. So bought a property, rented. I often say to people now, that like, one of the first things I did was learn from my landlord in uni, because when I used to rent with my cousin, and this is what I mean about our new bare people, my childhood friend, my cousin, and my secondary school friend, 4 of us in a house, innit? And with the landlord, I always used to ask him questions like, so how much do you cop this for? And what's the mortgage on this then, innit? So I'm learning nothing small.
Like, how much are you making of us?
Yeah, how much are you really making of us? And I think asking questions is a massive thing because you just dive into people's knowledge, innit? So before I bought my first property, I knew I was going to rent out the 2 other rooms. Because I jumped back into my parents' house, like, thank God, I was very fortunate in that they didn't require me to pay any rent to them.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
very fortunate.
And I have to point that out because some people do have to chip in.
Everyone
with the
starts
bills.
at different places.
It's different. There's different levels. Some people don't have to, and they do. Some people have to, innit? You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
Thankfully, I didn't have to, and I was able to put that money towards buying a property effectively. But I jumped back into my parents' house, then jumped into my new house, innit? And I guess the distance between sharing a house wasn't that great. And the only difference is that now I'm in charge, basically.
Right.
When you're sharing with, even though it's your cousin, your childhood school friend, and your childhood friend, there's still like, you're still beefing a little bit. But we finished the gas. No. I'm talking about in uni. Yeah. Sorry for clarity. So I've come from renting with my cousin and all of them like uni, and who finished the gas on? Oh, blah 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 blah. Argue, but even though you know each other, just argue over little stuff like. Bro, someone you're meant to top up £10 each time. Someone, nah, you did £8, bro. Tell the truth. Tell the truth, you did £8. Do you get what I'm trying to say? So dumb stuff like that. But now it's kind of like I'm in charge. I can pick the tenants and so on and so forth. So I rented out 2 of the rooms, innit?
Right.
And when I rented out 2 of the rooms, the first room basically paid my mortgage. I always like to use numbers, innit, when I'm talking about property, because it's one thing giving people the theory, but it makes it feeling now, innit?
100%.
So at the time, my property was relatively cheap. Roughly about 150k. My first property, 3-bedroom in an area called Sittingbourne, for context.
I love Sittingbourne.
Right.
I know Sittingbourne, but
150, can't imagine it, innit?
Goddamn.
I can't imagine it.
Three
For a
bedroom.
3-bed.
For a
But
Sittingbourne
the
isn't
thing
far.
is, it's been like
It's
it's been
not.
like that outside London for ages, though.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but people
but-
just clock it on too late.
Yeah.
Because when I bought my property for 150 in Sittingbourne, it was like there was still some around the 120s. As in the rubbish ones. Like still around the 120s,
That's
110s.
cool, but
and
how
if I
did
came
you-
a few years earlier, I probably could have locked it in at that.
But what was your deposit percentage?
So I put down 10%.
So how did you save 15 minimum, because you still got all the other things to pay for at the same time? So was you getting commission working as a mortgage broker?
Commission working as a mortgage broker, and bear in mind that I always tell people, have like a savings mentality. So I adopted a savings mentality whilst in uni, remember as well.
Yeah.
It's funny, I wish I pre-sent in the screenshot. I went into my Facebook recently, and then...
we can put it up.
Yeah, I'll screenshot and send it to you, innit? It was a screenshot of... it was an old Facebook message of some girl messaging me that I used to work with, you know, in the summer and that, innit? When I stayed back in the summer. And like, she messaged me saying, and it just reminded me of what my mindset was like back then. She messaged me saying that, are you doing XYZ on the weekend? And I said, nah, I'm working, man. I'm trying to do 90 hours this week. Got to make that peas. Some old school terminology like that, innit? So I remember seeing that, I was like, yeah, it's true, but I was I was really trying to get to it them times, basically. So yeah, like you said, commission from mortgage brokerage and so on and so forth, basically. And put that piece together, innit? And then I was shutting my cars as well, innit? You know what I'm trying to say? So I think it was
so when you didn't sell any of your previous cars, or
so all of it, I've never owned more than one car at once. You can only drive one at a time. So
that's what I was thinking.
I've never owned. Do you know what it is? It's funny because I was a fake petrol head. Because I've never really been deep in cars. I've never modded a car. You ask me what the brake horsepower of any of the cars were.
It's nothing worth talking about. When you get a car that's like 800 brake horse, you'll know.
So
they'll tell you.
I think I finally realized that I probably knew at the time I was never a real petrol head. I just like the look. So basically a combination of all of those things, innit? Do you know what I'm trying to say? And then rented out the rooms. The first room, my mortgage was roughly about £500.
Got you.
And I rented out a double room for roughly about £500 as well.
Got you.
And then rented out a single room for about £400.
In Sittingbourne.
Crazy.
Wow. That's good
Bro,
yield.
room rents are
crazy.
Yeah.
Bro,
crazy.
Like, sometimes when I speak to people about investing, and sometimes people are like, well, I definitely rent it out. And there's different ways you can rent out property: supported living, service accommodation. But if we're talking about just rent, demand is crazy. And I'm not talking about London, I'm talking UK wide. Typically, especially if you're anywhere like south of like Birmingham, demand is just crazy. Like you'll always find someone that wants a room, so on and so forth. I think I read something that said that the average room in London, no, in the UK is like 700 or some crazy stuff like that, which is nuts. It's nuts.
Crazy.
Yeah, so
mental.
Rented out room and then was able to still save my income because I'm not using it to pay a mortgage and so on and so forth, getting the profit from that. And then also as time went on, the property went up in value. I was able to refinance it, which is effectively pulling, as the property goes up in value, you pull more money out of it. Exactly that. And then able to buy more and more properties, basically.
So when the first property appreciated, what did you pull out of it? How much equity did you pull out of it? Like,
I think it was in like the 20s or something like that.
Okay, so let's say the property was worth like 175 or something like that. You might have pulled 20 out of it.
Yeah, exactly that. So it went up more than the 25k. Obviously, I've got my equity, my initial equity from my deposit.
Of course.
But most lenders will let you go. Typically, when it comes to your home, a lender will let you borrow up to 85% of what the house is worth.
Right.
I think I was with Bank of Ireland. Right. They're a little bit different where they allow you to borrow up to 90% of the value of your home. So I was able to pull out a bit more. Now that makes you more leveraged, but if you know what you're doing, at the time I know that the mortgage is being paid by whoever's staying in the property anyway, basically. So I was able to do that, basically.
So who put you, of course you learnt about mortgages because you're working in it.
Exactly that.
But who kind of, was you privy of, interest rates, all right, back, because you went to Bank of Ireland.
Yeah.
Like, everyone here might just gone to like Santander, Barclays, like all the typical like high street ones. Bank of Ireland, I don't even know if they got a branch, bro. You get what I'm saying? I've never heard of them. So it's like, was you privy to interest rates? And like who had the lowest, or did you use a broker? Because there's different ways of obviously doing it.
Because obviously I was working as a broker, so that made me privy to just so much stuff. It made me privy to property prices in certain areas because I was a mortgage broker, fortunately enough as well. And again, I'm very comfortable saying that, look, our aim at Bricks with Tips is to help you learn from our mistakes and our successes. So you'll never see me pretending that I wasn't fortunate. Sometimes it's always good to be clear where you were fortunate. 100%. At the same time, I'm going to tell you how you can benefit from that. So I was fortunate enough to work in Kent. So it's different if I'm a mortgage broker in Chelsea. I'm doing unrealistic mortgage. I can't buy here anyway. I'm actually issuing mortgages in an area that I can buy in. Do you get what I'm trying to say? Which is crazy.
That's a good shout.
We thank God in it. Do you get what I'm trying to say? So I know property prices. I know like what looks like a good deal. I know which lenders are, and I guess this is the great thing about a mortgage broker as well. You could come to me and be like, cool, I've got 3 kids, I got blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, cool, if you want to borrow as much money as possible, I know that Nationwide is great for people that have got kids because they won't reduce your income based on the amount of kids you got. If you tell me you've got 2 missed payments but you don't have a CCJ, it's like, cool, let me go with a cord because I know that a cord is kind of calm with missed payments. Yeah. As long as you ain't got a CCJ, they'll do the business basically. Do you get what I'm trying to say? And that's kind of what you learn as a broker by nature. Do you get what I'm trying to say? So stuff like a lender that's gonna give me more money when it comes to refinance, I know that second nature. Interest rates, I know that second nature because that's what I'm doing as my day job.
True.
Day in, day out.
And you have to pitch in clients essentially because you're trying to win that business.
Exactly that.
You get money if you obviously get them to get the mortgage.
So you got to assess a client on a meeting when they come into you for an hour.
Yeah.
So how much more can I assess myself? Do you know what
Yeah.
So that was basically the play.
Got you. So, okay, cool. You got the first house, then you take the equity out, then you go to get your second house. Did you stay in Kent?
Stayed in Kent, yeah. So Sittingbourne's Gravesend.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's bad that I can't remember, but I think between the first and second house was when I shot my TT.
Okay,
I got rid of it basically to boost up the funds for the second house basically, as well as the refinance and whatnot basically. So I got the second one in Gravesend. Gravesend, for people that don't know, is just like outside Dartford. So what I did is that I originally went home.
You went to mum's house?
Yep.
Yeah, got
and I rented out the room that I was staying in.
Yep.
But my mum don't play. My mum's straight in it. She was like, bruv, you rented out the room that you were staying in. You got to pay rent here.
Yeah, exactly.
You can't just
So you're going to make money and I won't.
What?
You have to negotiate with your mum now.
And it's so funny, like, I think that going through life, that wasn't a bad experience, but going through life, bad experience, good experience, I'm very much so glass half full. I learned from everything in it. And I'll always be thankful for any experience I had in it. I'm trying to say. And I'm so glad my mum did that. And it's a funny reason why, because I just knew I had to get out. I'm paying for stuff that I used to get for free. Like,
I know what you mean. Like,
all this stuff used to be free. Like, now it's like.
I think that's even the mentality we have with like apps on the phone. Is like, bro, most of these are free. There's got to be a free one. I'm not paying for your one.
Exactly that.
It's like 99p. I don't care. It's free.
I got to accelerate this joint. So went back to mum's house. It wasn't even for too long because I'd already done the refinance and blah 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 blah. Do you know what I'm trying to say? So I remember it like it was yesterday, innit? I then completed. I think I'd left mortgage brokering at that time. So I don't know if you got time for it, but I moved job bare, bro. Like 11 to 13 months is how long I'd stay.
So what kind of jobs?
So my career path came out of uni, worked at Enterprise Rent a Car.
A lot of people went there.
Yeah. And then I went to Enterprise Rent a Car for the young people that are just looking for something to get started. Good play. Got a license, you can get employed, start working, and they work you hard. So once again, I've told this story a million times, but like this is a typical day at Enterprise Rent. I always tell this story. It's not a typical day, but it can happen. With the corporates, you deliver the cars late at night, innit? Do you get what I'm trying to say? So your branch might close at 6. But it might be 7 p.m. You know, in the winter, it's dark at 7 p.m. But you still got to wash the car for the corporate client. Bear in mind, in Enterprise, you wear a suit. So it's time to, it's 7 p.m. I'm washing a car in the rain, in the dark, to deliver it to a client. Like, it's nuts, bro. So Enterprise is a shift, but once again, I find...
It teaches you how to work.
Bro, it teaches you how to work, bro.
Jamie used to work there.
I know,
And with Enterprise, you work with, like assistant drivers called like assured drivers, innit? And typically they're like Eastern European, and you know they've got a good work ethic as well, innit? And when I left to go to be a personal banker at Santander, Donnie was like personal banker at Santander, I was still aware of what I could achieve in it. So I knew that personal banker at Santander wasn't like the be-all, it wasn't anything superb in it. But something he said to me always stuck with me. It's like I wasn't that excited to go, and it's like, rah, so you're going somewhere 9 to 5, you get to sit down. And I was like, you're right. I actually do get to sit down. It's like, aircon, you can control your temperature. I was thinking, no, you're right.
I was outside watching the car in the rain.
You're better watching the car in the rain.
I was thinking, I wish I stayed at
bro, it's those little lessons. Like, I'm thankful for that one conversation. It sticks with me, bro. Do you get what I'm trying to say? And then you get to learn more about yourself. Like when I went to personal banker, I realized that, you know what? The traffic of customers that I see is too much.
Right.
like that staying happy all the time.
Oh, because you're on the front, you're the cashier, right?
No, not cashier, personal banker. So like when
Okay.
you want to open a credit card, blah, blah, blah.
Okay, cool.
And I remember I wanted to be a mortgage broker, and because I wanted to be a financial advisor, because obviously I know Eman. Eman's a big boy financial advisor, innit?
Yeah.
I know him from young. Eman was my youth leader at church.
Right.
You know what I'm trying to say? So that's how all of these things link up.
Yeah.
And I remember when Eman pulled up, he was like the youngest financial advisor in like the UK.
Yeah.
And I remember he pulled up to church. It was either a Beamer or a Merc, and I was like, you know
Okay, I think that's around 100 horsepower.
bro.
I didn't know,
But he was rich. That was the difference.
Yeah.
So I'm like, cool, I want to get into it. So mortgage brokerage is like a branch of financial advice. And I was aiming for financial advice, but I broke off the mortgage brokerage. I was smashing it at personal banking in the bank, innit? And I was like to them, make me a mortgage broker, make me, there's no space.
He was slapping credit on everyone.
Bro, everyone was getting a credit card. Hold that. I'm joking.
He's joking.
But,
I said, this was around 2008 and the whole market crash. I don't know what.
I was after them times. Them man were in jail. We didn't even get bonus for selling the car to customer service thing, innit? But they were taking long, so I done my own exams, paid for my own exams for mortgage brokerage.
Nice.
Still, they're like, no space. So I said, I'm leaving. I'm going to work in an estate agency. All of a sudden, they had space. But sometimes you got to watch the people that didn't give you a chance, and now you're glowed up. They want to give you a chance. If you've got another option, so you're not going to mess me about again down the line. So I went to estate agency.
Right.
I went to an estate agency. I was working out as a mortgage broker out of the estate agency. To make things quicker, after about 13 months, I went to Deloitte.
Right.
Consultancy, contracting.
Yep.
After that, 10 months, I went to HSBC, investment banking, doing compliance. Then I went to JP.
Contracting as well?
Contracting at HSBC.
Yeah.
Then I went permanent at JP Morgan, investment banking,
Got
compliance again. And then I went permanent at Bank of America, investment banking, compliance again.
Yeah.
And then at Bank of America, I left. But it's interesting when I left Bank of America, sometimes people often ask, what was the time that you decided to turn it off?
Yeah.
Because I was running Bricks with Tips at the same time since like HSBC.
Right.
Or since JP Morgan. And I honestly think that God intervened in it, because I got to a situation where a lot of my stay in Bank of America was during the pandemic.
Right.
And during that time as well, that's when television came and said, "Rah, we think you'd be great for this TV show, The Great House Giveaway." That's my show on Channel 4, right?
Yeah.
So I'm filming for it, but during the pandemic. When they said that, do you reckon you'll have time to do it alongside work? I said, yeah, I'll just use my annual leave in it, bro. Way more than annual leave.
Yeah, of course.
The days required.
Yeah.
Way more, because with daytime TV is typically volume.
Right.
So there'll be like 30 episodes of series. And I might have 16 to do. And it's like 4 filming days per episode. So it's a lot of days, isn't it?
Crazy.
So
Per episode, 4 days. Crazy.
Yeah.
We're still on this.
Start losing sunlight.
Yeah, when you try to
I think it's the nature of the show, because it's a build, innit?
Yeah,
So I'm not there for the whole build. I'll come at the beginning, midway, the end, and maybe there's another end, or I do voiceover.
Before we go back to that, what were your salaries starting at Enterprise, and what was it when you left? Was it
Bank of America?
Bank of America.
So,
or your day rates on the contracting?
Yeah. So Enterprise was 20, which was good.
That's
in my
very
opinion.
good for Enterprise.
Good.
Yeah, that's a good
I was
start.
happy.
Yeah.
Good at the time. Santander 21 or 22 with bonus. Mortgage brokerage was like 31, and then comms on top. Deloitte was like 190 a day, which don't sound like much, but
when you add it up,
it's contract as well, and it was
You was
before
doing like
all of this
60 hours a week.
IR35 stuff.
Yeah.
I was doing normal hours a week with that one, but it's before this IR stuff.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
I
yeah,
expensed everything, and I paid no tax.
Everything.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I calculated it that at Deloitte, I was probably at 190 a day. I was making like similar to what like a junior doctor might make, which is insane. Do you get what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
And then I went to HSBC, which was like 220 a day, I think. And then JP Morgan was about 55 and bonus. And then Bank of America was 65 and bonus.
Got you. Wicked.
That's all, I
Good
think
career.
That's all of the jobs.
So for anyone that wants to go out into this world, you know what? Well, Enterprise isn't necessarily a starting salary. What is like a starting salary at like JP though, or one of those?
If you're in JP in London, it depends on what you do, because like some people are hearing those salaries and they're bankers. Remember, I always tell people I worked in investment banking. I wasn't a banker. I was very clear.
Very
compliance,
different.
Because
different.
a banker, even their starting might be like 80K
Crazy.
and then
They'll be paying some
100%
crazy
bonus,
money.
or maybe they get 100K
What's the
and 100K
difference
bonus.
between a banker and an investment banker?
When I say a banker, and I'm talking about them in an investment bank, I'm talking about investment banking anyway.
Okay.
So you've got two types of banks basically, like your retail banks, which is like Santander, and they serve customers, but your investment banks typically serve corps or something like that basically. So they might be doing the banking for like Coca-Cola, they're doing a merger with, or just for argument's sake. So real like corporates, huge volumes basically.
So the normal banker can 80K or the investment banker 80?
Investment banker
Is the 80K?
Yeah, typically in a retail bank, you're looking very close to like just your normal salaries in the UK, but in the investment banking industry, the salaries, that's why even doing compliance, you can earn like £65,000. If anyone wants to look into compliance, once again, it was me learning about myself. Like after being a mortgage broker, I decided, do you know what? I don't want to be customer facing at all. I want to come in, tap on a computer, and I want to bounce. And that's why I specifically went into compliance. I did a qualification called ACAMS, ACAMS. I think I paid like £1.5 for it, and that allowed me to pivot into compliance basically. Within the investment banks.
Tech banks, or would like Starling and them be considered tech banks? Or just online banks?
They're just like digital sort of.
So they won't, like, those won't have higher salaries because it's not like
they will, because the tech thing gets a lot of money, and remember with the tech thing as well, they just get huge investments as well. Because everybody wants a unicorn, innit? Something that's going to exit for like billions, innit? So
all of the that like Tide and that as well.
I think Tide. Anything that isn't like what's it called? A building society.
A bank or building society.
All them digital ones, and they're like, oh, you can sign up in a couple of minutes. It tends to be like they're like the digital joints.
So they typically pay quite well as well.
So okay, cool. So with that, first of all, what was your upbringing with money, like parents wise? I don't know if mum and dad are there, but mum is definitely there. Yeah,
dad's there too.
Cool, dad's there as well.
Parents.
What were their money decisions like? Did you ever observe it?
Yeah, I think that, I don't know if every Nigerian or maybe even West African has the same experience, but I feel like when you're young, you never really know whether...
You couldn't tell if they're good or bad.
You can't tell.
You can't tell. And it's even a good thing because everyone practices the same principles. It's like sometimes... It's almost like you're told no, just so you know that you can't get everything you want. I always give an example that when I was in school, everybody, like people used to rock Kickers, or some people had Pradas.
Yeah.
You might even know, I used to call it Parada. That's how
that's
how far I was away from these things. Parada. Yeah. So I was sensible with it. I didn't go to my parents asking them for Paradas. So Mum, let me get the Kickers. This is the in crep.
But or did they buy it like a size up?
So they didn't buy it together.
They didn't buy it all together.
You got Wallabies.
I got Wallabies.
The thing is, Wallabies was the next best thing.
But this is the thing.
That's
Wallabies were good because everybody was in the same boat.
Yeah.
If we went to somewhere where everybody had Kickers, Wallabies would have been laughed at.
It was Jamaicans that had Kickers.
Maybe.
I had Kickers at one point. Yeah. I finished on Wallabies, funnily enough. I started with loafers. I started with loafers because I didn't know. I got in there, I looked, I said, everybody's in this. Next time I was in Kickers, bro. But please, low top jokes.
I've got two brothers in it, so it's all boys. And I think, like, looking back at it, I hear it because, like,
it's expensive, bro.
It's expensive. And
£60 on shoes.
Your boot in can.
You're
gonna run them in the ground.
The shoes all opening, like you're running it.
There was a mum, and her son came on with a mash-up boog, but the internet was like, leave him, man. He scored a hat trick today
with a tennis ball.
He just put in a Ballon d'Or performance. Mum was like, alright, cool, man. She didn't know what I got.
She didn't get it.
And what do girls do at fucking, like, you know, when you get to school first, what do? They didn't bang
in the
balls.
first break. What? The break before school started, like, what did they do? They were getting nutmeg.
They were just chilling.
Nutmeg rush early.
Man, start school sweating.
We got focusing class.
Bro, it's crazy.
Shattered,
fam. Shattered.
Just played a full night.
Bro, it's insane.
Taking it back to hustles as well. Hustles in school, selling donuts.
Yeah, of course, man.
I'm asking this question to everyone because I want to see where the hustle started.
Yeah, of course. So selling canned drinks. I even like, there's certain things that you notice that it's like business principles for later. You don't know that you're tapping into it before. So I used to sell like I used to go to Tesco, buy like canned drinks, sweets, donuts from Sainsbury's, so on and so forth, innit? And like the canned drinks, like there was good margin on the canned drinks, innit? Very good margin. Word.
He understood.
But
You know.
but the thing that I realized after a while is that canned drinks are heavy, innit?
Yeah,
And you might
transport.
only
That's
be
a
able to-
logistics.
Bro, you might only be able to bring 30 of them things in. You know what I'm trying to say?
A whole thing.
But the margins are small on the donuts.
Yeah.
You can
But
get bare
you can
donuts
get
in the
more
bag.
volume.
donuts,
You know what I'm saying?
Got
Or,
you.
you know, toasting waffles. That went off a little bit. Toasting waffles. And you know when you open the full pack, but it's got the individual
Yeah.
wrapper?
Yeah.
eating.
So hygienic, huh?
The Mac
Yeah.
eating.
Bro.
Yeah.
Bro.
And they got the individual plastic in it.
Like,
Yeah.
the individual plastic, so
Them
open the
tastes like
full.
cardboard, bruv. They don't even taste that good when you think about it.
When you warm that shit
But
up,
yeah, you warm it. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
alright.
yeah.
Some
But
of them are whack.
It's
some of
not a
them are whack.
Belgian
but you
joint.
put butter on it, warm it, slap
Yeah,
some
you have to.
butter.
Yeah. You have to even let it melt in the squares.
One of my bridges that I can't lie, he took my floor with the toasted waffles thing. Yeah. He come in with he'll come in with a honey as well. This wasn't my play. He'll come in with a honey and he'll charge you for a squirt. I swear to you.
Oh, you're
Charge you
lucky.
for a squirt
This
and
is a
syrup.
different show.
That is
Man
crazy.
said he brought the honey in. I said he
Yeah.
drizzled the thing.
Bro, and he charge you for that, fam.
Real
Serious
hustler.
things.
Real
Crazy.
hustler.
But yeah, I was on that as well. But even like back to the parents, I think the one thing I knew about my parents is that they were. I rate all African parents that came over here. And that's what
Yeah.
my parents did, innit? They worked the jobs that we probably wouldn't have done. Do you know what I'm trying to say? They really put in that shift, and they were very prudent and just made sure that. I think one thing that a lot of us experienced is that there was no waste.
Yeah.
Like, even when it came to like dinner, like, bro, if I've dished it, you have to finish it. I remember
Finish it,
as
bro.
a youth.
Finish it.
Times I'll be so upset because my belly's. I'm saying that I can't, but I've dished it. You have to finish.
Yeah.
But
There's
now that
yeah,
we're
yeah.
older, have you noticed that your bin doesn't look the same as when it did when you was young? When you'd actually just be like, oh, let me just throw this rice in the bin. I don't have rice in my bin like that, bro. Because I serve what I know I'm gonna eat.
Yeah.
But on my
Very true.
daughter's mate, the whole porridge is.
Yeah.
crazy.
It's true.
You gave them
It's
2.5 carrot and you couldn't finish 2.5 carrots.
Bro, and sometimes you try and reason with them as well. I remember I went to Tenerife with the whole family, innit?
Yeah.
And we booked like a kids like place and it was all inclusive, innit? And then one time I came back in it, I went Blue Water, I went Carluccio's.
Okay.
Anyways, yeah. I'm looking at my daughter's 2 and a bit, innit? So I really wanted to understand this. I'm like, Olivia, daddy's paying for this one. So please pick something that you know you're gonna eat.
Yeah.
And she said porridge. I'd be like, are you sure? Because we can't have the waste thing. But it's funny though, because where our parents like were making sure that we saved money or didn't waste, it's like those principles are instilled in me, which is good. But sometimes I still like a little like aircon and windows down. It's 'cause I'm not allowed, innit? A little aircon and window. Let me enjoy both. Because I couldn't have this when I was younger.
I need balance.
I couldn't have this
need
when I was younger.
equilibrium.
In the summer, a little breeze from here. Sometimes you need the fresh air as well. innit? The aircon get too cold sometimes.
So you just run down the window, yeah.
So yeah, a couple things that I wasn't allowed when I was younger.
Run it quickly.
Oh my god, brilliant. Okay, cool. So, couple properties down. When did your missus come into play?
Property number 3, which was not that far after property number 1.
Right.
And once again, I'll say to people, this is why I'm fortunate because 2 is stronger than 1. Now, for context, I've been with Antoinette since 2024. Now, been with Antoinette since 2013. Do you know what I'm trying to say? So quite some time.
Long
So
time, man.
yeah, there was that element of trust. We knew each other. We kind of grown together in it. So even with property number 1 and 2, she's still heavily involved. Do you know what I'm trying to say?
Okay, got you.
So property number 3, we've bought together in it.
Yeah.
And once again, I let people know, like, when you join forces with someone, it opens. It probably would have taken me quite a bit to get onto property number 3.
Yeah, but that
If it
affordability
wasn't
goes
with,
up.
Affordability goes up.
Yeah.
Joint deposits, just everything.
The risk is
basically.
decreased.
Risk
everything.
is decreased.
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy. And
This is cheaper.
Yeah.
This is fantastic.
Literally. Yeah.
this is fantastic. You know what I'm trying to say?
Told the bank to go and halve.
Honestly.
2 people on the mortgage actually.
And Twitter will call you broke for that. You know what I'm
How
saying?
could you put her
God,
on the
bruv, will you
mortgage?
go ahead halves?
It's crazy.
Crazy.
That's just what we told.
Wicked.
So I think we copped that one, but we didn't even move into it. We just copped it, rented it out.
Got you.
And then what we did was when we got married, we moved into it. But here's something that's quite interesting, right? And this is where it's really, really good to know that I always say this thing, be a teacher and be a student. Everybody's a teacher and a student. Because if you bought your first home yesterday, you'll know more about the first time buying process than me.
Yeah.
You literally experienced it yesterday. So I can learn something from you, even though I've got a page about property. Does that kind of make sense?
Yeah.
So one of my brethren who bought a property after me, after we bought the third property and after we got married and moved into property number 3, he bought in London.
Right.
So I was like, this thing again.
Hey, London.
This thing is possible. And not to say that I thought buying in London was impossible, but like we mentioned, when someone in your circle has done it,
Yeah.
like, bro, we can really get to it.
Yeah.
So
That's
literally,
cold.
like 2 months after moving into the property, we started looking for property number 4. Antoinette's like, yeah, where are we going to find the peas? I said, Baba God will provide. So I just started searching for properties, and I think like 6 months after that, managed to do some tweaking with like refinancing, maybe an old one and so on and so forth. I managed to buy the property number 4, which is where we're at now, basically.
Lovely.
Nice.
I want to point something out. I want you to read this. Read what I tweeted this morning.
Help us, I hear it.
That's crazy, right?
Help us teach and learn today. 2 ears, 1 mouth.
That's crazy.
Have you been spitting though?
Wow.
You've been spitting. You've been doing morning.
But that's mad that I tweeted that today.
Yeah.
That you
It's
said,
crazy.
"Rah, we can learn and teach at the
Yeah,
same
bro.
time," like
Bro,
because
that's
that's
what people
valuable,
don't-
bro.
it's valuable, bro.
That's
It's
very,
crazy.
very valuable. Now, decisions, right? I think that making money is one thing where you work, all that kind of stuff. However, your decisions outside of making money can affect your money.
Yeah.
So even the lady that you've chosen, like
Whoa.
people
whoa.
make very bad. Go on.
Can I just, before that, it
Yeah.
was your 10-year anniversary last year. You got together in 2013.
But that's getting. You're
Not married since then.
Yeah.
Oh,
Married
yeah, okay,
since, it's our 5-year marriage.
Okay,
anniversary.
been married
Coming
5
up.
years.
Coming
Cool.
up.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I was
Got
gonna
you.
do congratulations.
Yeah.
Joyce, you slightly got me shook.
You know what's funny? And when you said it, I was like, "Right, 10 years." I was thinking, let me avoid the mess just in case. Just in case.
But
That
Joyce,
was-
when you
that
get
was the
married,
pigs
it kind
and
of,
yeah.
Because when we was
deletes
talking,
the, it deletes
Man
the
said
girlfriend.
7 years ago he used to cheat on her.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, there might have been a break period, right?
And you said you're going Ghana and Nige.
Yeah.
So I thought, okay, so now you said 10 years. I thought, was that the?
Oh, no.
Oh, okay.
I said
cool.
Ghana and Nige. So
Nah,
now I'm
just
thinking,
fuck
wow,
you.
was that the platinum thing? Yeah.
That's the platinum
Platinum
belt.
Sorry, go on.
So picking like your partner, because a lot of people self-destruct through their partner, or they're like, what was it that stood out to her? What's the first thing? Because I feel like every time you look at your relationship, there's that moment where you was like, this person's the one. Do you know what I'm saying? And especially when you're into like investing and buying property, you're looking at it not from just a love perspective, probably who can build with me, as we are, but you physically got a house here.
Yeah.
She's helping you. Like, what's the first thing that she did when you was like, this lady is going to help us build this thing together?
It's funny because what you're saying is just facts. And when I speak to the young boys of today, I often tell them that, young boys and girls, innit? I tell them that you need a partner that sees growth, has got foresight. Is the key thing.
That's the word. Yeah.
Foresight, because there's gonna be people that are here to just like use you and dash you, basically. Do you know what I'm trying to say? That they literally want to kill you. It's kind of like, I spend my money and I spend your money.
Yeah.
And I spend them both on stuff that is just nonsense.
You're gonna
Do you
run
get
me
what I'm trying to say?
ragged. Yeah.
You're literally gonna run you to the ground, innit? You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
And then leave you
Crazy.
to rebuild by yourself, innit? And I think one thing I clocked in Antoinette early doors is that she's got foresight and she respects the growth and she's a hustler herself, innit?
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm trying to say? Not to all pin it on this story, but this is a story that I often tell people that I mentioned in uni, did small hustle, make, and then at one point I wasn't making any money in it, but I was still spending like I was making money. Now in uni, when you get broke, you can get really broke.
Yeah.
Like you have to call for Lifeline.
Aye.
Like,
Yeah.
Bank of mum, bank of dad.
Even you go to the aunties and uncles at some point, you're really desperate. Send me £30.
So it was a thing where I was just getting by in it, and it's funny, man, they were ruthless.
What does getting by look like?
Bro, getting by looking like I don't even know where the next meal is coming from, bro.
Yeah.
And that's again literally because, and it's bad money management, and you learn from these things as well. Like I say, everything's glass half full. So imagine you're making an income stream, innit? Do you know what I'm trying to say? That deads for whatever reason, or your expenditure, which was high expenditure, is continuing. So all of a sudden you're realizing that, I ain't got peas for like champagne in the clubs no more. All of a sudden it's raw. I ain't even got petrol for this TT that's outside the house. Then all of a sudden it's raw, like, I don't even know what I'm going to spend on food next, innit? And it's funny, you live with the man are ruthless, innit? Maybe they can't see what you're going through, but big up my cousin Bubbles, innit? Yeah. He's someone who will always give the real, innit? So like, when you put in like some chicken nuggets and chips like that, bro, let me hold some nuggets. Like, bro, you're bare broke. I'm not sure if you knew that I was actually broke at the time.
Yeah.
So that was like, it's true.
It's true.
And them times there, yeah.
That's a let me hold some nuggets.
He said, "Let me hold some nuggets." Not even I order me a salad as well,
bro. Like, for context, I wasn't in that phase for a long time, but one thing I did realize was two things: that Antoinette could see that, and she looked after man because she knew the type. She knew not that she knew I was going to get back up, but sometimes. And I say this to the women as well, it's like, assess the person, not what they're doing right now. Assess the graft, because graft often pays off.
Yep.
So I guess in that stage, she, not to say that that's what she noticed, but she was there, she looked after, you know, when you're, I don't know if you knew, and she's making sure that you're fed.
She has the foresight, bro.
Exactly,
if she can see past where you are now, that's a good thing.
Yeah.
So one thing I would say is that Antoinette's seen so many versions of me. Do you know what I'm trying to say? So many versions of me. She's been with me, contributing to the growth, and I think that that's where you need to be at when picking a partner. I think that you just got to pick someone that is willing to grow with you, sees the foresight, sees the plan, 2-year plan, 5-year plan, 10-year plan, whatever it may be, basically.
All right, so property today, the market. What is your views on it? Because obviously, when you're talking about buying a house at 22, do you think that is actually still possible? Like, in your humble opinion, like coming out, going to enterprise, like your journey, do you think that is still a possible journey?
I think it is. The reason why I say I think it is that even though house prices are more expensive, there's still more areas like to move into that are relatively cheap. Like we speak about Sittingbourne. Okay, there's two things. Young people are earning more than we did back then.
That's true too.
A lot more.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm trying to say?
Even retail.
Nah, bro.
Even retail, because when we started, it was like £5 something or £6. I think my starting salary at New Look was like £6 something, and I remember people were like, "Raw, that's crazy."
I mean, earning is cool, but inflation. Meal deal ain't £3 no more.
But at the same time, we got a lot of young entrepreneurs as well that are actually doing it as well. Maybe they might be
very
TikTok or whatever it may be.
But we're talking average houses for the average person.
Yeah, I do hear that. But even still, like, okay, one thing that I know is like 2 years after I got my first job in enterprise. So for context with enterprise, I went to Portsmouth University and all of us wanted to get into banks like JP Morgan. None of us got into banks like JP Morgan. Do you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
Like 2 years after that, I realized that, and if you go to JP Morgan today, you'll find that there's a lot of young black graduates at JP Morgan. And their starting is not going to be at the 20, it's not going to be at the 30. So there is more opportunities, in my opinion. You know what I'm trying to say? And something like that can get you something in different areas. But one thing I will say, and I think it's the key thing to point out, is that when we were younger, I don't know if you remember, what I say to people is that London's getting bigger, quote unquote.
Yeah.
When we were younger, bro, Barking was Essex.
Yeah.
Do you get what I'm trying to say?
Very true.
Barking is basically London now.
Yeah.
When we were younger, and then obviously, once again, I'll tell you something I'm fortunate about. My parents, we used to live in like Peckham, Old Kent Road, Borough, moved out to Catford, finally moved out to Orpington. So quite often, once again, I admit where I'm fortunate is that the concept of moving to Kent was a lot more realistic for me.
Yeah.
I already lived in Orpington.
Yeah.
You live in Brixton.
Yeah.
And I say, considered Sittingbourne, it's like, whoa!
Yeah. I can't like Orpington's nice. I drove through there the other day. I was like, yeah, that's my next place.
Bro, this is it. But once again, when I was younger, Orpington, my brother, oh, that's far, man. You're in Kent. Yeah. Now some people might even basically say that Orpington's basically London. You know what I'm trying to say? London Borough of Bromley. You know what I'm trying to say? That's what they say. You know what I'm trying to say?
Another thing, so you bought when you was 22, about 10 years ago, yeah?
Yeah.
Has it got blacker where you live? Your street, your 2-mile radius, yeah. You're not there anymore, but you may go there to, you know.
Definitely. Not as much as the properties that I bought after them.
Right.
So like, one of the reasons I was open to Kent as well, and I always give these examples, is that foresight, once again, when my parents moved to Orpington, so for people that don't know, Orpington's like just inside the M25.
Yeah.
A lot of my aunties and uncles in church were moving to Dartford, which is just outside the M25.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like if two adults at the peak of their earning potential are coming together, joining forces, and buying in Dartford, where's everyone's kids going to move? Do you get what I'm trying to say? So it's like, cool, Kent is a play.
Yeah.
Because if two adults are moving there now, and I'm thinking about this before uni as well, so if two adults are moving out there now, after uni, when everyone starts earning or whatnot, where they're going to move, basically.
Yeah, just a bit outside of there.
Exactly
Yeah.
that. But to your question, like Dartford, I mean, bro, like Tasties in Dartford is always sold out. So that gives you context.
Yeah. What the area looks like now.
Because I saw something on Twitter. Like, obviously, like there's all the what is it? Why? Nah, I can't remember something.
I know
someone
what the
said.
tweet recently.
But yeah, there was that one. But it's like when black people do move places, white people start selling.
Yeah.
It's not allegedly because we've seen it in history.
Yeah.
But then it's also the thing of like everyone wants to live around white people. But when white people, everyone wants to live around white people. But when white people say they want to live around white people, they get like, we don't necessarily want to live like, I want to live around like,
I want to live around black people.
But I don't want to live
I
around.
don't want to around.
I want to live,
I don't want to say it, but
I want to live in a nice area.
But you know what's so funny about that comment though? I think that comment about white people move is specific to America.
Yeah.
The reason why I say that is that, bro, UK is hard, fam.
Yeah.
As much as you want to move,
They can't.
it's not feasible, bro. You can't just.
They're-
You
no,
can't-
but
the average
they're there,
person,
man.
the average
You see-
person, you're there, you're chilling, bro. You're putting up. You know,
Yeah,
like, you're gonna put up.
100.
yeah, like my neighbours ain't racist, innit? You know what But like when you you're one of them ones. You know, you get to an area and there's no for sale signs.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden,
Oh, yeah.
and you're like, hold on,
I
is
saw
it
that.
me?
I saw that.
Is it me?
Trust
Yeah.
me, I saw that. And the thing is, the reason why my one's a bit like, is it that or is it not? Because when we was looking, people were selling. But then when we started to see a few more is when it was COVID and they had the what's it called? The stamp duty holiday.
Yep.
So then naturally a lot of people might be like, actually, I kind of always wanted to move, but I couldn't afford all
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
I might, but then it might also be influenced by the fact of, hey, actually, it might be a good time to start like moving.
Gang has come through, basically.
Right.
Yeah.
And then I started to ask, this neighbor, when did you come? I'm thinking he's been there for years. He's like, no, I've only been like 2 years. This person, I've only been like 4 months before you. And I was like, black. It's for sale, white person, for sale, white person.
Start looking now. Is it
Then
us?
someone else bought an Asian couple. And I was like, Then Asian guy bought the neighbors next to me. I was like, they're going to start leaving.
Yeah.
They're going to start
Asians have
leaving.
smashed the property. Man.
Oh,
Yeah, they're certain.
Yeah,
I saw
That's-
an Asian guy bought 2 mansions side by, like not mansions, but like big houses side by side, and
Yeah.
they're turning it into
knock
like
it,
apartments.
knock the wall down.
Like,
yeah.
even in
amazing.
Kent, them not go and do the auctions and they'll buy up like 90%.
Oh yeah,
of-
dilapidated,
Yeah.
and they'll
They
fit
come
the
together,
bill.
up.
they buy up like 90% of all the properties at auction. Like they go crazy.
You bought? No, you haven't bought auction. Have you been looking into auction properties?
I haven't bought anything at auction, only through the TV show. That I have to
Right.
do the live auctions for the TV show, innit? But other than that, I buy through like.
Sometimes auction look good, but you have to have the whole thing like.
Oh yeah.
You can get the correct me if I'm wrong. It sounds like you could get like a mortgage for it, sort of thing. But
Yeah,
then
auction
you have
finance.
then you have to build it within a certain amount of time or something. Which
So
one is that?
typically,
I never knew
what a lot
that.
of people do is like a bridging loan, basically. Bridging loan is a form of short-term finance, innit?
Yeah.
So you don't necessarily have to do it within a certain time, but the finance is very expensive. So you want to exit as soon as possible.
Right,
So you want
okay.
to get the work done as quickly as possible, so you can then replace it with a typical long-term
Long
mortgage,
mortgage,
which is
okay.
a lot cheaper, basically.
Yeah.
Got you.
But on the point of neighbours, I think that having good neighbours, as you know, bro, it's a blessing.
it's
My
a
my
blessing,
neighbour, now that I've got, it's probably I've only got one neighbour. The other house is empty, innit?
Yeah.
It's probably like the best neighbour I've had
Yeah, bro.
ever. Like she's a lady. She's an old white lady, but she's from Bermondsey originally, innit?
Oh, okay.
She knows. She's
She's been around it.
What kind of properties do you have? Detached, big guy. How you living?
So I got. That's funny.
And it's in Kent. It's in Kent. So you know.
So I'm on the. It depends what you. It's funny because my area is a bit weird. We're on the kind of like the cusp. So we're within M25. I walk 2 roads away and I'm in Woolwich, innit? Do you know what I'm trying to say?
Right,
But my
got you.
area is deemed as well in it.
Right.
Okay. Yeah.
So we're in a terrace property, 4 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, decent garden.
What's terraced?
With
Got
the
house
house
on
on
both
both
sides.
sides.
House on
Yeah,
both
yeah,
sides,
yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
So-
Yeah.
And all the properties that we bought previously are terrace or and the terrace. So we got 3 floors, which allows us to kind of like spread things out as well.
Nice.
So
have you seen the difference between the like semi-detached and the terrace properties, like in terms of the prices, like in your
definitely.
area?
The prices are much more expensive. So fortunately enough for me, I've got a lot of friends that live in the area as well. So some friends have semi-detached properties.
Yeah.
Some friends have detached properties. So obviously it reflects in price because you've got one neighbor. Semi-detached will be typically more expensive because you've got the option to do a side extension as well.
Yeah.
Whereas people in the terrace property can only do a rear extension in it.
Yeah.
So I think where we're at property wise, it's as you guys know, with property, you're always perfect is hard to get to, isn't it? So you're always tweaking it, what you like, what you don't like. So I think we'll settle where we are for quite some time, and then kind of get a gauge of what we like, and then
cool.
Are you able to share any advice on like shared ownership? Like, do you think it's a good idea? Like, who would you recommend it for, and who would you say stay away from it, sort of thing?
Yeah, I think that's a great one to discuss because shared ownership is the most popular government scheme. Why is it the most popular government scheme? Because it offers people the least work to do to buy property, in my opinion. For context, what shared ownership is, it's a scheme that allows you to buy a share of a property. I always give this example. You got 400k property, 400k flat in Lewisham. The scheme allows you to buy 25% of it. So you're only buying 100k worth of that flat. And then on top of that, you could put down a 5% deposit, which means that you're putting down 5k and you're controlling a
25%.
But you're living in a 400k property.
Yeah.
Now, typically, if you put down 10% on that 400k property, that's 40k. So you can see the vast difference, innit?
Yeah.
Now, there are naturally some cons of shared ownership. Go through a few of them. A lot of bills to pay because you're paying your mortgage on the remaining of that 100k, that 95k. You're paying rent on the remaining of the 300k that you don't own. And then you're also likely to paying service charges, possibly ground
I would trash it personally. But again, I don't know what the pros are.
I think there's pros.
So this is what I say to people, innit? And this is what our content is about because we've got a duty to talk about all of these schemes, innit?
Yeah.
And we typically try not to say what is good and what isn't because for some people it will
Might
work.
be great, yeah.
Now, what I will say is that everybody that wants to buy a property, try and do it without a scheme, even if that means you move in 10 miles south. Or There are some schemes that are better than others. What I would say is that just off the rip, shared ownership would, in my opinion, be suitable for like 1% of people. But the trouble is like 50% of people are interested in it. I'll give you like the cons of shared ownership as well is that quite often you've got all of the responsibilities of an owner, but not the privileges.
Yes.
You've got the privileges similar to a tenant, So
it's like a glorified tenant, in my opinion. I used to think it was like a glorified tenant.
Stuff like that.
So if you want to paint this orange, you have to get permission from the housing association. Do you know what I'm trying to say? Because you only own 25%. But when a toilet breaks, you're not fixing 25% of the toilet. It's your responsibility. Do you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
So with all of that being said, who is shared ownership suitable for? I always say this. Shared ownership can work in a major city, like London. Maybe we've got a guy or a girl that's got kids and their support system is solely in Lewisham. They can't get any other support in no other area. So that means that they're bound to that area.
Right.
Do you get what I'm trying to say? And the price of houses in that area is that price basically.
Yeah.
They earn a decent amount. So staircasing or saving more on the side whilst earning is realistic. Do you get what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
And they've got no other options of buying because you can't move to Orpington or you can't move here. So it's either rent and in no future circumstance, it's just rent or do shared ownership in it. Do you get what I'm trying to say?
Right.
In that case, what I'd often say to people is that you could tap into shared ownership, but be tactical with it. There's a lot of people that have been tactical with it. With shared ownership, if you staircase up to 75%, you're in a bit of a tricky situation because a lot of people that can afford 75%
Probably could
of
afford
a 400k flat
Probably could
buy
go
a
for
house.
100. Yeah.
So what happens is
You would have been clearing your mortgage.
Yeah.
So what happens is that the more you staircase, the smaller your pool of people you can sell to becomes. So quite often, here's a little tactic. If you're going to do shared ownership, if you're bound by it, and if you fall into the category that I mentioned, stay at 25%. Any extra money that you get, you put it on the side.
Right.
So that when you finally sell your 25%,
Yeah.
you've got money on the side. You sold your 25% for a profit, hopefully. You put that money together, then you go control a little.
Okay.
Yeah,
So you could sell your share.
Yeah, you
could
So
sell
it's more that sense of, okay, if the house is appreciating, I've got some of it. Bang.
bang.
exactly.
25.
Exactly.
It's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
a better
Because I was just trying to understand,
alternative
why
to
would I
renting.
want 25% of this?
Yeah,
That's all I was
yeah.
trying to understand. Why
Because
would
you
I
own that 25%, the house
It's an element
appreciates.
of equity, basically.
Got
You
you.
still have that 25%
Makes
of it.
perfect
Yeah.
sense. Okay, cool, no problem. Right now, what is because we got a lot of people that are, whether it be young or they're just trying to do their thing in this world where there's Instagram and all these things that distract you from saving. What's the key things that you had to double down on in order to get to where you are without the distractions? Because I'm sure all your brethren are going to the club, they're popping bottles, whilst you have to be like, I want a property.
Yeah.
So what are the things that you did? Did you distance yourself? Did you change your company? Did you you know what I mean? Did you ghost? Like, what are the things that you would say, this is what you need to do in order to focus and double down on your shit?
Yeah, absolutely.
Use my language.
Two things, and this is what I encourage everyone to do. One, pick your poison.
Okay.
And two, let people know. Let me start with let people know. I feel like, especially as guys can be very transparent with each other.
Yeah.
It's like, bro, you know I'm saving for a deposit, like. You know I'm saving to try and buy a house, bro. Like.
Yeah.
So now you ain't got to. Now when everyone's like, yeah, we're going this club. You're comfortable in it, bro. What's the bottle spend, bro? You know I'm saving for a house. Whereas if you haven't communicated that, it's kind of tag along.
Yeah.
Chipping into my stage. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
It's like, bro, if we're doing the table thing,
Yeah.
you know I'm saving for a house. I can't just be spending money willy-nilly.
Yeah.
Comfortable.
Yeah.
You know what I'm trying to say? You let them know you signposted it. And I think that helps a lot, especially with your friends and whatnot. I say pick your poison. The reason why I say pick your poison is that I'm not one of these people that say, yeah, eat sardines every single day. Don't go here, don't go there.
Yeah.
What I did is that, okay, cool. So, you know a bit about me. At the time, I liked cars. I liked clothing. I liked going out. I liked holidays or whatever. It's like I said, cool, I'm going to bang 2 holidays a year. But you see the clothes, you see the buy a new car, you see all of that, I'm dropping it all about. But I'm going to make sure that I still enjoy this.
Yeah.
And then another thing I did with my savings, and which some people could do, this is specific. If you've started rent, I encourage people, try not to start renting your place. Try not to start renting your own place if you want to buy a house. Stay in your parents' house, innit? Do you know what I'm trying to say? Because one thing I was able to do on that enterprise salary, I think I might have been getting about 1.3, 1.4, is that I was able, remember I wasn't paying rent as well. So I was able to save first and spend everything else.
Yeah.
But because you've done the good thing first, I obliterated
Oh,
that.
yeah.
That last 4
Oh,
bills.
yeah.
What? I was even lucky with it. Wastage. But joyful
Spillage.
wastage. Bro.
Because you feel like,
Demolishing it.
I've served myself
served
already.
myself.
I've done the right thing.
Served myself.
No one can't chat rubbish. I got my savings.
And I think that goes down to like delayed gratification as well, isn't it?
Yeah,
Like sometimes you have to
yeah,
delay.
yeah.
And sometimes you could like sometimes I wish I delayed certain things further. Like when I bought my second property, I remember going into work. The next day I was at Deloitte. And I ordered my next car on a computer, bro. At least one Merc, drop top Merc. I even regret it to this day. It was like 3 months after buying, 3 months after getting it, I got a ban.
Damn.
So-
He said he did bottle service.
So, and it was a 2-year lease, so you could like,
That's crazy.
So a lot of things that
No.
this is what I'm even trying to tell people, like try and delay these things as much as possible. But I will say that one thing I did have at the time with that was that the principles were correct.
Yeah.
My principles were is that like people read books and so on and so forth, but how you're meant to think about it is that your liabilities, the things that cost you money on a monthly basis, try and get your assets or your investments to pay for them.
Yeah.
And my thing was is that Sittingbourne house is full. The first person is paying a mortgage alone.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna get my man in room number 3 to effectively pay for the whiz.
Yeah.
And I know some people don't like the sound of that, but at the end of the day,
That's
That's
what's
what it
happening.
is.
it's a market
Yeah.
that we're operating in.
Yeah,
I never
yeah.
forced no one to rent the room.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm trying to
yeah,
say?
yeah.
You could even argue that it's even a good thing. Do you
Yeah.
know what I'm trying to say?
100%.
He's got a roof over his head.
Do you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
And if he didn't want it, someone else would have snatched it off him. Do you know what I'm trying to say? So
Yeah.
my man paying for the whiz and but no one was using it. So,
What are the areas that you would recommend, like buying in? So obviously Sittingbourne, is the prices still looking around the same there, or
I think you're looking at 3-bedroom, maybe about 260s, 270s, I think, in Sittingbourne. Sittingbourne's quite, it's doing quite well in it because obviously before Sittingbourne, you got like Chatham and Gillingham.
Yeah. That's where we went.
Yeah. Oh, swear?
Yeah, I was in
okay.
Gillingham for like Medway.
Oh, yeah, lit.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but Sittingbourne's doing quite well. I'd say there's a number of things you could do, right? I think that a lot of people think that they're in this home ownership thing alone. Do you get what I'm trying to say? Sometimes I've had to drill into my brethren that, like, bro, you're a good earner, and the average is this. So I don't know why you're dulling to move to Kent. The longer you, or Essex, or wherever is affordable for you right now, because it's just numbers. The longer you wait, the more people are going to catch up with you and make that price go up. Do you know what I'm trying to say? You literally earn more than the average, so pull the trigger now. Do you know what I'm trying to say? And then grow with the market.
But it can be scary though.
It can be, definitely.
Because, you know, you think, oh, what if I'm not earning all this money? Or what if there's a change in my circumstance? Or I don't want to lose it. Do you get what I'm saying? Some people, what is the saying, like, it's better to not love that all than love and lost or something like that.
Yeah. That's
funny
funny that you use that in property still.
Yeah. It's a bit wild, but I don't know one for property, innit? It's better to not have a house than to have a house and lost it. You get what I'm saying?
That's so funny.
So it's like, there's a lot of time you think of that. Like when I even think of when me and my missus got our house, I was thinking, man, doing this up was even long. I was like, I don't know if I want to make money through property. I don't know if I want to go through that again.
Yeah.
Do you get what I'm saying? And then I'm also like, the second time I do it, going to be more on stamp duty because we didn't pay as much because it was first time buyers and all. So I'm like, oh, I don't know if I want to do that again. Even though I know bricks and mortar, you're going to make some money and it's solid. So like, I don't know, maybe speak to that, like to people that might have that sort of reluctance. No, that's not the right word. They might be apprehensive towards buying another property for investment. Like, why should that person do it? Not to say they have to, but like, what are the things that you would say would ease their mind as you can do it, it's okay?
So it goes back to what I mentioned before. There's always going to be a demand for property. And I think this goes for single people especially. Like quite often when single people are buying their first property, we'll talk about first year, I often say to them that, look, try and get a 2-bedroom. Because what that means is that if interest rates go up, you've got the option of renting out a room, which will significantly take the financial pressure off you. Do you know what I'm trying to say? And you can do that from the rip. Quite often I tell people that, do you know what? I'm a married man. I can never rent out a room in my house.
No. It's impossible.
You can, so do it while you can. And that was my vibe, innit? Do you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
Clean up while you can. Do you know what I'm trying to say? 7,500 of it per year is going to be tax free as well. Do you know what I'm trying to say? So clean up while you can. And then there's so many other reasons why you can look at property as a serious investment, because sometimes I tell people that, look, property is not historically it's done well in the UK, and there's a number of reasons for that, but it's protected as well. I often give examples of the global pandemic. Global pandemic hit in March 2020. You can't do nothing. They don't even want you to go for walks. You can't go to funerals. However, April 2020, you're allowed to go on house viewings. A lot of people didn't clock that. The only thing they needed.
They didn't stop that.
They needed to keep it
that's
robust.
true.
You can't go to funeral, but you can go on house viewings. Crazy when you think about it. Do you know what I'm trying to say? Because they need to keep it alive. And sometimes I give examples. So sometimes I say that if all of us live on a road and we all pay council tax and our taxes and whatever, and what that helps to do, helps to like pay police, fire engines, blah blah blah, increase the roads. Maybe it helps to improve the high street around the corner, whatever that may be. We're all paying that. We're all paying £100 a month for that for the 10 years that we're on the road. Fred's the only one that owns on the road. We're all paying the same figure.
Yeah.
He's the only one benefiting. He's the only one benefiting. Value of the house is going up. This is a nice area now. You see this on the high street. We all paid for it. Only Fred benefited.
But I was paying rent. It's true.
Only Fred benefited from it. Do you know what I'm trying to say? So it's kind of those kind of like things that you got to think about, and then obviously rental income. And what I say is that when you've got a property, you've got a tangible asset, and you can always earn off it. Do you know what I'm trying to say? I rented out in Sittingbourne, I rent out a garage. You know what I'm trying to say? I know my friends that rent out driveway or use a room in your house as a studio. People will rent it to take photos, or do you know what I'm trying to say? I've been on shoots where someone's renting their house out to the production company. Do you know what I'm trying to say? It provides shelter. There's just so many benefits to it, basically. So I think that's the play.
Do you know about the guaranteed income schemes, like from councils and stuff? Like, do you know much about that stuff?
So you're talking about either supported living or renting out to the council, basically.
Yeah, so basically, like, say for example, my property now, I can say I'm moving out, give it to the council, and they will guarantee me a certain.
Yeah.
Oh, right,
absolutely.
cool.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
guaranteed
yeah.
rent.
Yeah.
Do you know much about that?
Yeah. So there's plenty of ways you can make money off a property. So I can even go through a few of them. Some of them you can deal directly with the council. There's a set rate that they pay, and you can check that out online. So local LHA rates, basically.
Right.
And that's how much the council will give you for a property. They normally do it per room. So it'll be like this amount per week if it's a 1-bedroom, this amount per week. And each council will have their own one. And that's where you get that guaranteed figure from. Alternatively, there's something called supported living or sometimes temporary accommodation, which is kind of like a spin-off of that. And that's where you might have like, let's just say a teen that needs to live independently. And they're involved in, I don't know, maybe some kind of gangs in West London. So they need to place them in, let's just say, Gillingham. Do you get what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
So a supported living company will arrange that, and then you as a homeowner, they might say, cool, Temi, we'll give you X amount per month guaranteed.
If you let this person stay.
Exactly that.
Okay.
And we'll pay you that, and we'll look after the person. And that can range, innit? Sometimes it can range to someone like that, to a mother of twins that needs immediate housing, or sometimes it could be someone that needs 24-hour care. Now, as you can imagine, the more care they need, the more they will pay, basically.
Yeah.
Or you could do serviced accommodation, which I do a lot of as well, basically. Serviced accommodation can mean a number of things, innit? So typically first thing people think is holiday makers, but I've had people that are buying a new home and they're in between houses. So they've rented my place for like 2 months on a nightly rate, which is insane. I've had people that are corporates. So in my house in Gravesend, I get a lot of people working on Thames Barrier. Come renting for a week. The person that's booking isn't even the person that's staying. Do you get what I'm trying to say? As a corporate, they
the
come
company,
in for a week, and they go in it. Once
Yeah.
again, nightly rate. One time I had an AF family, came straight from Nige. Dolly rented it for 2 weeks, and he said he's going to find somewhere to rent full-time in it, rather than just Airbnb. And it's tricky in it, because sometimes when you're coming from another country, you need like references and all these things to be able to rent from an estate agent, innit? He ended up staying for 2 months, because obviously this is London, isn't it? You can't just come pull up and find something. It's techie, innit? You know what I'm trying to say? But once again, staying for 2 months, so you're paying a nightly rate. Do you know what I'm trying to say? Or sometimes I have corporate stay for long contracts, like building contracts. I recently had someone just leave one of my properties. He was there for just over 100 days. They booked in like early October. And left in January. Do you know what I'm trying to say? Once again, paying a nightly rate because they had a building contract. So service accommodation
company will
there
pay
as
for
well.
that as well. So
Exactly
you're just
that.
like living there and your rent is paid.
Exactly that. Then you got HMO, which is a few people that don't know each other living in the same house, similar to a student let. You got typical buy-to-let, which will be one family on a long-term tenancy. What a normal
But HMO, you have to do it up a certain way, though, innit? It has to be like HMO approved or something like standards.
So
like fire extinguisher and all that
kind of stuff. Fire safety, fire risk assessment, and so on and so forth, basically. So yeah, man, a lot of different options, basically. A lot of different options.
Got you. Before we sort of slide, any myths that you would like to bust on property?
First one is you can't buy a property with bad credit. You can. You just pay more for it. Or you need to put down a bigger deposit. I think that will be encouraging for a lot of people, because there are a lot of people that have got bad credit for whatever reason, innit? Sometimes you fall into it in uni. One thing I want to say, actually, is that, bro, in the UK, they want to get you in the chiz, by the way. They want to. Do you get what I'm saying? That's why there's no education about credit cards in uni. They just bang them out. Do you get what I'm trying to say? It's even funny, like, once again, I just thank God for it, innit? Because I applied for a credit card in uni, a student credit card, and they didn't give it to me. I'm even thankful they didn't give it to me.
Sometimes it's good. It's good.
I wasn't that financially savvy them times. I might have run it out.
I can buy now and pay later.
I might have. I don't know, innit? Do you get what I'm trying to say? So, and I always say to people that, I always give this one example, that refinancing in your home, you can refinance on your home to pay for a car. You can buy a Porsche if you like. You can refinance
Don't tell him that.
I won't do that.
You can refinance on your home to buy a wedding ring, holiday, party. If you tell them I'm doing a party, they give you the money.
Crazy.
If you tell them that you want to refinance on your home to start a business, automatic decline.
Wow.
Interesting.
Wow.
Auto decline, bro.
What do you think?
The country don't want you to. They don't. This. I'm gonna be honest. It's not an aspirational country. They don't want you to. They don't want you to. Credit is good because credit means that you have to work.
Yeah.
Remember, the UK's one of our main resources is labour,
Yeah.
workforce.
Yeah. Yeah.
We ain't got oil.
Yeah.
We've got people that that need to work
Yeah.
to pay off the finance, basically.
Yep. Yep.
Do you get what I'm trying to say? So,
Wow, that's a huge myth, boy.
and it's a depleting workforce.
yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of these. What's the generation? 2 generations below us.
Entrepreneurs.
They don't wanna work,
Yeah,
bro.
yeah.
They can't
They're on
even
their own
imagine
thing.
it.
Like
They
you
can't
was
even
leaving
imagine
after
it.
11 months. These motherfuckers will leave before probation.
They wouldn't even
Wait,
start.
They're out.
They do
They
the
don't
soft
even
quitting. You know?
Yep. Jumping.
Like they've
hopping.
got a job, but on Tuesdays and Wednesdays they're not doing anything. You know, like that.
Crazy.
They'll pick it up on Wednesday. It's crazy, you know, like that. So the workforce is depleting. People ain't as skilled. Even if you look at the building of these apartments, flats, houses, it's not as good as what they were building in
Yeah.
Back in the day,
1920.
yeah,
Them
yeah.
1920
Yeah.
houses is still standing.
Oh yeah,
Firm.
yeah.
These
Oh, yeah.
new flats, wind will blow it.
Yeah.
The thing will
Have to be
come
very
off.
careful.
Like,
Yeah.
it's crazy. So
Yeah.
you know the workforce is depleting. England have mashed themselves up.
Yeah.
Mashed themselves up.
Nah,
Young lot ain't on it,
Smash her
fam.
up, man.
They said I think they said something like the average age of a roofer is like 40 something.
People went,
I'm going on the roof. No way. man.
in a couple years'
Soft
time, I
life,
don't know
man.
who's gonna
bro.
do it.
That's-
We're gonna need robots to do it because we ain't trying to do no manual labor, no manual.
I need to get on my roof, yeah.
What, you gonna clean it yourself?
Yeah.
You're gonna go on your roof?
Yeah.
No, you're boying it.
No, I'm not buying. Because I haven't even checked the price. But if someone tells me 150 is too much for me to pay someone, because they're gonna be up there for 20
Oh, it's gonna be
minutes.
more than that. He's
You know,
because
like
he's
that.
risking
It's
his
gonna,
life.
like-
it's gonna be
100%
more
more
than
than
that, innit? So I'm like, the first thing I need to do is just put a cap on my chimney.
Okay.
To do what? To stop things from going down
Yeah,
it?
to
Don't,
Okay,
don't do
yeah.
it, please, man.
Don't put-
Please, no, don't do it yourself, man. I'm even thinking what that looks like. Shaking. I'm trying to balance as well.
Like, you think you're good until you get up there.
Oh.
You'll see.
Like, what crap are you gonna wear? Have you even got it right?
You need cat boots,
I
man.
need them to waltz.
Bro, no scaffolding, man. I climb out the bedroom window. Pull up. You know you're singing the leg.
My wife's at the window working, so she's a leg.
Dangling.
Nah, 'cause I was thinking I'll use the flat roof to get up. Then I was like, okay, where can I get a big enough ladder from
I got one still.
to get on the roof?
Yeah.
How
From
you gonna get
Temu?
it to me?
Make sure it's
No, it's not from
Temu.
Timu. That's the only thing. I don't know how I'd get it to you, but
You
I've
don't
got
like that?
a ladder.
Oh
Nah,
yeah, that's true. How are you gonna transport it? Logistics.
Nah.
This is that can drink versus.
Like the logistic. I need to put a cap on my chimney, and I'm definitely not paying someone to do that. That is because I know they're gonna run me.
You have to, as long as you're careful though, because that stuff's dangerous. If you fall
15
from a
minutes
roof,
of
it's
work.
crazy.
Man want 450 and that.
Yeah, but you might
Yeah,
need
but
harnesses and that.
You need
Like you
other
might
things.
need something that you don't have.
The
That you
thing
don't
is,
know
when
you
they
need.
come round, you'll see that they do it reckless. They'll go up there with nothing.
Oh, no, yeah.
But I don't want to risk my life.
Yeah, I
I'm
don't
worth
understand
450.
that man has maybe fallen before,
Yeah,
so he
yeah.
even knows
Yeah,
what
yeah,
a
yeah.
fall looks like.
I'm
And
worth
he might even know how
450.
to fall. Yeah, like that. How to fall. You know, Grace. You're busy trying to grab the hair.
He's all there, tuck and roll.
He knows how to fall. I'm landing on my back in that clap, spine down. He's just breaking the elbow. It's all right. Use that one. Yeah,
Have you watched a YouTube video on it? On the installation?
That's
a good shout, yeah, yeah. At least bare minimum YouTube, yeah.
Because
Yeah,
on YouTube, they'll tell you certain things that, like, don't do this yourself. So
Yeah.
No, I'm not listening.
But
to
then he will say, "Come to my
You don't
company."
like that? No, I'm not listening. They said don't try wrestling at home. I did it. I'm here.
I'm here.
Don't do your own roof. It's my roof. I'm going to do
so
it.
funny.
Oh, God.
And then, so just before we top 3 tips that you can give to people looking to buy their first home.
Use a mortgage broker. The reason why I say that is that in any industry, no professional does the amount of work that a mortgage broker will do for you before you buy your first home.
Yeah.
So a lot of people think that a mortgage broker comes into play when you found your home, but you go to them early. They tell you how much you can afford, or how much more deposit you need to get, or what areas can you look at. A good mortgage broker anyway.
Yeah.
And they'll work with you like a year prior in some cases.
Okay.
Do you know what's peak with that though? Like, you chat to the mortgage broker and they say, you need more deposit. this is the one that I have. Where am I gonna get, like, say they want another 20k? Yeah, you think I could get that tomorrow? Cool. Some people might have like bank of mum and dad, but then cool, it's gonna take me a year to get another 20. Where's the market gonna be at in a year?
You're absolutely right, but I think that knowledge is power, and the reason why I say that is that some people, because they're saving with no target, just saving for a deposit.
Yeah.
You don't even know where you can buy.
Yeah.
You've impulsively done a YOLO trip to Dubai, but you spent 3k, but you don't know that you were 3.5k from your deposit. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
You don't know that you only needed another 5 bills to
Yeah.
fulfill the goal that you've been working on for 2 years.
Yeah.
Because you've been working for 2 years with no direction,
Yeah.
you don't even know where you're at, basically.
Yeah.
And that's why it's a lot harder for a lot of people to save as well, because they don't actually know what they're saving for. They don't have a figure in place.
Yeah.
So that's where
You have to start properly looking from early, so you know, okay, around this much is what I
Yeah.
need.
Yeah.
Let me change my question a little bit, because you've given one for buying a house. So I want to split it from 1, buying a house, 2, maintaining the house. Not in terms of like buying things for the house, but the maintenance of your mortgage, keeping up with payments, and then selling a house.
Okay, cool. So maintenance with like mortgage and stuff like that, I'd say that if you've got extra cash, I highly recommend overpayments. Yeah. So for people that don't know, typically when you buy a house, you'll get a capital repayment mortgage. For simplicity, what that may look like is that if you're paying £1,000, £500 is capital that you're paying off the loan that you owe, and £500 is interest. That interest is just the cost of borrowing that you're paying the bank, right? So that's what your £1,000 looks like. If you've got some extra cash lying around and you're able to pay an extra £200, instead of that payment being split interest and capital,
It's just
it's
pure.
just going straight off the mortgage balance,
Yeah.
basically. Now, £200 might not sound like a lot, but you do that, an extra £200. There's a nationwide calculator that will tell you how much it will knock off your mortgage
That's
for the
crazy.
term of your mortgage,
Yeah.
and it's a significant amount. So
Yeah,
definitely
bro.
look into that. Overpayments goes off the balance of your mortgage alone. Basically.
Even if you could be 5 years out of your mortgage earlier, that's still much better.
Yeah.
Do you get what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
much better.
That's a whole load of money that you could save for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm with that.
And then selling your
With
house.
that though, there are limits on the amount you can pay off
Overpay.
early.
Yeah.
If you pay it all off, they'll hit
They have
you with
penalties.
early
yeah.
repayment charges. Yeah.
early
So,
repayment charges. Yeah.
so the way to think about it is that, look, banks want you to be in a mortgage.
Yeah,
They
want-
make money off
yeah,
it. So
yeah.
they don't want you to repay early. And if you try and repay it early, there's penalties to be paid.
Yeah.
Typically, they're anything from about 5% to 1%, which is a lot of money. However, when it comes to overpayments, a lot of banks, especially the high street banks and the ones that we know about, they will allow you to pay off 10%
Every year.
every single
Yeah.
year, which is a significant amount of money. You think about it, if you've got a 300k mortgage,
It's 30
that's
Very basic,
30k. And a lot of people, I mean, £200 a month for 12 months is 2,400. So
Yeah,
you
exactly.
can see how
Yeah.
far we are away from that
Yeah,
30k
yeah.
basically. And then selling your house, I'd say don't underestimate how much curb appeal and first impressions make. Like, people are impulse buyers. We're visual beings, innit? Do you get what I'm trying to say? So, like, when people come in your house and like your 50-inch TV is on the wall, even though it's not staying, they love that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
Do you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
I can't lie, like, when I bought my house, they had an American fridge, and I always wanted one of them drinks.
Yeah. It's not even staying,
It's
but
not even
like,
staying, but
it
this is
is-
it.
it can be here
The
if I
space
want it.
would be there.
Yeah,
There's
space
space
for
for
it.
it.
Yeah.
So like people like, so make sure like your house is tidy and like you've like staged it well, innit? Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
On my
yeah.
TV show, when it comes to selling the houses, a lot of the houses
They
that are
stage.
staged
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
is the best play. And sometimes
yeah.
staging can
Make
go.
fresh cookies so that when they walk in, it's like,
Yeah,
this is-
exactly
Remember
that.
there was a snake, a rabbit, dogs in one of the biggest house we viewed within budget, but because of that,
It's
it
like,
was
it put you off, yeah.
It's like we're gonna have
Yeah.
to clean it a lot.
Yeah, it's in the
Yeah,
carpet.
Yeah, true.
If you've got a nice car, park it up in the drive.
Yeah,
People
yeah,
like
yeah.
that stuff. It subconsciously tells people about the neighborhood.
Yeah.
You go to the driveway and like you see on the road people have got. It doesn't even have to be something brazy, but even if it's like a Jag, it tells you a little something, innit? You know what I'm trying to say. So people like that kind of stuff, and sometimes I was gonna say sometimes staging can go wrong. Like what's on our TV show, someone had a 3-bedroom house. They done up 2 bedrooms. One of them was a small room, but they staged the small room as a study. And when you stage, you're telling people what the house is.
Yeah.
So what
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
effectively doing is you're telling everyone the house is a 2-bedroom.
Two beds.
Yeah.
So you just gotta be careful with the
Something to
staging.
look out for, because when I was looking at my house, I was like, right, this room is big. But I realized that the way they lived in the house wasn't the way we would. So they didn't even have a wardrobe in that room. They had a wardrobe in the other room. Because
Yeah.
it was just a couple no
Yeah.
kids, no nothing. So then when we were coming to buy it, I was like, by the way, we're gonna put a wardrobe in that room. So that space, don't think of it in that same way.
Yeah.
That room's gonna be a bit smaller.
Yeah.
So just always remember when you're viewing, like how you could use the space. It might not be the same way. Do you know what I'm
Absolutely.
saying?
On wardrobes, I realized that I've got a wardrobe in every room in the house, which is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Right.
I need to sort that out. And one of the rooms is a wardrobe room,
Yeah.
which is insane.
It's insane. But we
I
need
can't pack
space.
stuff. Bro, it's insane, bro. I need to sort it out, bro. I don't know how.
I've always said I'll just do more charity runs, man. I can't
Yeah,
have
that's what I
too
need to
much
do.
clothes,
It
man.
don't make
It's
sense.
too much being minimalist.
Monthly. My mum said, my wife said I run charity runs monthly. I didn't even clock. But
Yeah.
every month,
Something's going in the bag, yeah. I'm not using it.
Yeah, I'm not
There's
using it. I haven't
stuff
worn it in
coming
a year. It's
Yeah,
gone.
yeah.
With our lifestyle, we get a lot of stuff coming in. Like
Yeah.
people are gonna send us stuff, or we might be buying stuff. So it's like
Yeah.
you need to keep a constant like vessel, like keep it flowing. There was one more thing, was it?
No,
That's
that was
selling
the
it.
free.
Was that the third?
Free, yeah.
Wicked. Shoot, your channel, where people can see you or see that shows that you're doing, everything. Just let them know.
Sure,
where they can
so-
find you.
TV show on Channel 4 called The Great House Giveaway. We've got a new series coming out at the beginning of this year. Again, we thank God. Our platform is Bricks with Tips, at Bricks with a Z, Tips with a Z. That's on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, Threads, whatever it is. All the same app. We locked it all up. And then we've got a new... Can I talk about my new platform?
Yeah, go for it.
Thank you guys, man. We've got a new platform called... The
And
Home-
that's the end of the
We got a new platform called the Home Buyers Club. I mean, as we've spoken today, we've spoken a lot about community. We've spoken about the guys here, innit? Like, community allows you guys to, like, kind of learn off each other and hit your goals, innit? So we created a new platform called the Home Buyers Club, which has online courses about the whole home buying process, basically. Got a course called the Home Buyers Blueprint. We got a course called Strategies and Schemes. It goes through every scheme from developers, lenders, government schemes. We do monthly giveaways, cash giveaways to add to your deposit,
Wicked.
just for being a member. The membership subscription fee is very small fee, £18 a month. If you want to go through the mandem, I can sort something out with the mandem, get something cheaper if you come through nice, baby. How about How about
Do
that?
that for sure.
We do webinars as well, regular webinars. So everything that you need to do to buy a home. And the way that we think about it is that we've got something on our website that says that if someone wanted to buy their house in 24 months without any guidance whatsoever, unfortunately, it'd probably take you 36 months. Because like I said, you're kind of just trying to navigate without any guidance. What we're aiming to do is bring that 36 months back to
24.
anything between 18 and 24 months, basically.
Got
And
you.
that's what our platform will do through the community. So the Home Buyers Club, check it out. The man will help you put the link in the description.
For
innit?
sure.
Wicked. Tayo, appreciate you for joining us. Shout out
Thank
Bricks
you.
and Tips. That was Money Fridays. Don't blow that money this weekend, man.